What's going on, YouTube? We got an update today, man. We got an update, and I got notes because a lot of things have transpired. A lot of things go on every single day when we're talking about politics, geopolitics, Trump administration, these tariffs. It's hard to keep up with. So I got notes that I take throughout the day while I'm researching, watching CNBC, looking at True Social, whatever it may be. I got some notes, couple of key points that we're going to talk about today. Number one. Did you guys see this morning on True Social? If you're not on True Social, he has an account on X that pretty much tweets what he puts on True Social. But True Social this morning, Donald Trump put out 9:37 a.m. This is a great time to buy. Fast forward hours later in the day, we get the 90-day pause on everybody who didn't retaliate with their own retaliatory tariffs, i.e., China. China actually got an increase today from 104 to 125%. Man, it's getting ugly. It's getting ugly. But to back up a little bit, Trump gave us the oop, man. Trump gave us the ultimate lob, a little bit of insider trading. When I initially seen it, I didn't think much of it, honestly. But in hindsight, when I go back and see, man, this morning, it's a great time to buy. For him to say that, knowing that he was going to put a 90-day pause into effect later in the same day, fast forwarding a couple of days before, we seen how the market reacted to the fake news when we thought we were going to get a 90-day pause a day or two ago. So he already knew how the market would react to that. So for him to say it's a great time to buy, knowing he was going to put out the 90-day pause, mm, he threw us a big blessing, man. I know a lot of people who went crazy on the options game today, who made a lot of money. Everybody's portfolio should have went crazy today. If you bought some things on discount, you know, if you took advantage of some of the ridiculously low prices that we've seen on Monday, especially, and a little bit on Tuesday as well, you were pleased today. I know I was. So that takes me into my second topic. What did I do during the correction phase that we were in over the last couple of days? I bought 40 shares of Nvidia. That's what I did. I bought 40 shares of Nvidia. Last time I checked, I was up 16% on those shares that I bought, you know? And now I think I am 6 shares away from having 100 shares. So I'll have 100 shares by the end of the next, probably by the end of this week, So that's what I did. I bought 40 shares of Nvidia during this little correction period, and I also put some funds into my Robinhood account, to start getting ready to start getting into some options play, man. Start getting into some options play. But another thing I want to talk about, because, I've been making videos this week talking about, of course, what's going on with these tariffs. Everybody's seen the market was in shambles. And I have a video that's coming out probably tomorrow or the next day talking about buying the dip, the strategy, how you should be buying the dip, what you should consider when buying the dip, what buying the dip is, what buying the dip isn't. Now, I have a friend, I told him I wouldn't say his name. I have a buddy, we were looking at the market on Monday, and I usually don't buy on Mondays. I usually, let the market wake up, see what's going on, watch the news, let things, play out, and I usually buy on Tuesdays. It's just something I do. Can't explain. That's just what I do. I usually don't buy on Mondays. I usually buy on Tuesdays or any other day later in the week, but usually not on Mondays. So we're looking at the market on Monday, and of course everything was incredibly low. And I'm like, hey man, what you buying? And he like, oh man, I'm gonna wait, see what's going on. Of course, more tariffs are gonna go into effect today, Wednesday. He like, oh man, I'm gonna wait. Tuesday, I asked him again, what you buying? Fast forward, I bought 20 shares. I bought some shares, 20 shares of Nvidia on Monday, and I turned around and bought another 20 on Tuesday. I asked him Tuesday, hey, man, you get into something? These prices looking good. You gonna get something? Nah, man, I'm gonna wait. Wednesday, we sitting. I'm like, come on, man, you ain't gonna buy nothing. What's going on? He's like, nah, man, I'm gonna wait, man. You know, things are going on between us and China, and I think with the prices might get driven a little lower. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hold off on it. We sitting in a meeting. Next thing you know, boom, 90-day pause. Markets instantly, everything straight up. And I turned over and showed him like, hey, you cooked. You cooked. And this is why I said it on the podcast a couple of days ago. Don't try to time the market. Don't try to time the market. Take what the market is giving you, what the market is showing you. If you have a position in Nvidia and your average cost basis, this is just theoretical numbers. If you have, say, Nvidia and your average cost basis is $130, and you have the opportunity to buy Nvidia at 85, 90, below $100, don't sit on the sidelines and wait and prolong and procrastinate, thinking, oh, it could go lower, it could go lower, it could go lower. It could go lower, but you can't time the bottom. You don't know where the bottom is. Buy the dip, take what the market is giving you, lower your average cost basis, mitigate some of your risk, and don't try to time the market because in his case, in the case of this, the opportunity that he had over the last couple of days versus that opportunity is gone now. He got caught with his pants down, because Trump holds the power to, turn the market on or off with a tweet. And that's the risk you take when you try to time the market, especially when you have an administration as volatile and as wishy-washy as this one. So that's another thing I want to caution people with. And lastly, I know everything is green right now. We had a massive rally after that news came out, but I want people to be cautious. I want people to remember we still have a baseline tariff of 10%. A lot of these other countries are still in a negotiation. They are still in negotiations, you know, over this next 90 days. And as we know with Trump, man, anything's possible. Anything could happen. Things could turn around. He could wake up the next day and say, you know what, 90 day, it's off. Things could still get worse with China. A lot of our Mag 7 companies, a lot of big companies, just talked about in the video before this one, Amazon and Apple. We have a lot of our major companies, a lot of our tech companies tied up with China that will be affected by the rise in these China tariffs that have supply chains running through China, market share running through China. So we're not out of the woods yet completely. And this 90 days just gives us more 90 days of uncertainty, more 90 days of things being able to change at the drop of a hat. And so I want you guys to, be cautious, don't get overzealous, and, you know, move smart out here in the market, man. Move smart out here in the market. Trump said that China is ready to make a deal. He said that he's willing to, hear him out. So we'll see what comes of that. But, as of right now, the market sentiment is good. The market is liking what's going on. And, it's showing that in the numbers. Two other things to look out for. Of course, Q1 earnings coming up. Be looking out for any companies that's on your watch list, companies that you're interested in. And also, tax cuts could be on the horizon soon. Deregulation, a lot of other things. Crypto went crazy today too after the news. So that's all I got to talk about today. A little quick recap of what went on today, things that caught my attention, things that I was paying attention to. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for tapping in with your boy. And man, I'll see you on the next one.